Hours before ships reach the AP Moller Terminal, Mobile, harbor pilots operating out of Dauphin Island, Alabama, make their way to meet them in the Gulf of Mexico. Their job is to pilot the ships through the narrow channel and into port, miles inland near downtown Mobile. Approaching the ship and climbing the rope ladder is done carefully, as one small missteer or misstep could lead to a pilot being crushed, thrown into the water, or the ship's crashing. As the one modern container ship, which has a carrying capacity of up to 6,734 20-foot containers, approaches the terminal, the yard is prepared for the arrival. The ship-to-shore cranes below are in position, and many of the containers in the yard will be loaded after the ship is unloaded. The cranes in Mobile are hurricane resistant and designed to weather 180 mile-per-hour winds. Depending on the ship, some may need to be turned around 180 degrees, which is done by 2 to 3 tugboats pushing the ship into position. It takes about 45 minutes for the ship to come alongside the dock and be ready for longshoremen to tie up about 8 large ropes to the ship to ensure that it doesn't move once in position. While cranes begin to move into position to begin the process of unloading and loading, the next step is for longshoremen to begin unlashing the containers, which have been secured for transport using long bars that reach several stories up. The timing and order of their work is important, as the cranes are operating in a specific order at the same time they are unlashing containers before they're unloaded and securing them after loading. The crane operator's cabin sits 14 stories above the dock. From here, they're able to control the position of the spreader, which is picking up and moving containers to and from the ship. They can also control the locking mechanism, which fits carefully into locking positions on the container corners. One small error in this process could mean disaster and hours of delay. As the operator uses joysticks to move the spreader below, he can also see lights in front of him. These different colored lights tell him which step in the process he's at. For example, green means the load is ready to move, red means he needs to engage the container, and yellow means the container is waiting to move. Doing this from 200 feet above the dock at a consistent rate of speed is a delicate process. In the hold of the ship, containers are loaded after unloading. The bays are numbered to allow for exact positioning of each container. There are only a few inches between containers, and they fit tightly into each bay. After the hold is filled with containers, it is capped and ready for loading of more containers above deck. While the crane is operating, trucks are constantly moving beneath in a cycle of loading and unloading containers. The crane drops the container into a truck, the truck moves the container into the yard, where a reach loader picks it up and moves it into place for storage until pickup. Reach loaders within the yard often need to move containers to access one that needs loaded, particularly when ports are at capacity or when there's increased throughput. Containers to be shipped by rail are moved to a rail yard, where they're often put into sunk well rail cars, which allow for 2 high container transport. Gantry crane operators and longshoremen work together with truck drivers to put the containers into place and ensure they're secured with twist locks so they don't move. Several checkpoints at the entrance and exit of the terminal are in place: the gate and weigh station, and the U.S. Customs X-ray machine and inspection station. Once the incoming containers are checked, they're sorted into export and import areas, and refrigerated containers are stacked in areas with power hookups so they can maintain temperature. Mobile is only one of 67 terminals operated by AP Moller, but this process is very similar across the globe. It takes a complex series of steps to ensure these containers are moved efficiently to their destination.